I live with my mother, my father, and my sister. My mother's name is Susan. My dad's name is David. My sister's name is Rebecca. My dad works at A&M as a plumber. My mother works in the AgriLife Extension Agency at A&M. We've lived out here in the country for 10 years. I like living out here in the country. I'd rather be out here than in town.
David has always pushed himself to be the best at whatever it is that he's involved in. Football meant everything to David. He had his sights on going on to play at the next level at college, and then the possibility of even going on to play in the NFL. He was constantly preparing himself to be a better player.
It was a lot of work trying to get recruited. I spent the entire summer, I went to 23, 24 football camps this summer trying to get recruited, and fortunately it paid off.
David is one of the recruits for Rice University.
They gave me a great opportunity to get a great education. That was the place where I wanted to go.
David has not had any pre-existing medical conditions that we knew of. He's always been a healthy child. He rarely was sick, so it came as a very, very big surprise to us.
It was a great day to play football. We came out, we scored the first points. The game was tied all the way through the fourth quarter. I definitely was feeling the pressure, and it was my job to lead the team.
He was having the game of his life. My brothers were listening on the radio, and they're like, who else they got playing for him? My goodness, he's a monster out there.
I was having a great game. I was feeling great.
On the top, number 45, David Wilganowski. Over the shoulder, number 45, David Wilganowski.
Going on to the field, I just don't remember anything after that. Everything went blank.
The other team was punting. We were returning the football.
When I saw the play going on the other direction and David coming toward the sideline, I'm thinking, well, that's kind of strange. The play's not even over. And he just collapsed, just fell down in slow motion to the ground.
When we rolled him over, his face and lips were blue. He wasn't breathing.
I grab his wrist, I try to take a pulse. I can't find one.
As I was doing CPR, the stands were so quiet. I can remember hearing a very loud gasp from everyone in the stadium. It was as if everyone at once took a breath.
When I saw him doing CPR, I lost it. They're doing his last resort they got to save his life. Oh, he was dead. That's why I hit the ground and started praying, bring him back.
Wig's body, as it accepted the shock, jolted.
And about the time the first shock was delivered, EMS had got there.
The chance of survival for Wiggs was very low.
I had no control. I couldn't do anything but pray.
Why isn't he waking up? Why isn't this working?
When he took his first breath, everybody was just relieved that he took a breath.
It was very faint, but he had a heartbeat.
We weren't real sure what was going to happen, not knowing the brain damage or even what the injury was.
In the emergency room, that's when I was worried, because he would look up, say, I can't see you. So what's wrong? I'm right here above you. I can't see you. That's when I was worried about brain damage. But the doctors told me, no, it's just temporary.
I was in the ER for 2 or 3 days, and they were just running a lot of tests. After those tests, they decided that, yeah, a defibrillator was the way to go, and if I do go into atrial defibrillation again, the defibrillator is supposed to kickstart your heart back.
There was not any other alternative other than to install a defibrillator, which would end his football career.
And I just thought, oh my God, he's gonna lose his scholarship.
Everything that I had worked for seemed like it had just fallen apart. I spent 4 years dedicated to the sport of football, and that's pretty much was my life. I'd do powerlifting to try to get stronger for football, and right after powerlifting, I would go into track because I was also throwing the discus and throwing the shot, and I used that as an opportunity to get stronger and faster. Everything I did was to get better for football, and to think about 4 years of hard work all year just wasted. I mean, it demoralizes you.
My husband's a veterinary cardiologist, I'm a veterinary surgeon, and we met during our training at Ohio State University before we came down to Texas. We've been working together for about 23 years. One of the things that most people don't understand is that our pet population gets many of the same diseases that we people get.
When you compare animal diseases and human diseases, especially from a cardiovascular standpoint, there are some diseases that we see in dogs and to a lesser extent cats that are very, very similar to those that we see in people.
And the benefit in studying animals is that in the process, we're not only benefiting humans, but we're benefiting the animals themselves.
Understanding the disease process in our animals can allow us to understand them better in humans, and then both really benefit.
Coach Bailiff and several other Rice coaches came in, and he looked at David and he said, no matter what happens, you're gonna be a Rice Owl. And I was hearing it, but I'm thinking, he doesn't understand the seriousness of what the outcome. He's not gonna be able to play football.
I was quite proud when I could walk in that hospital room, and say, Wilganowski family, our commitment to you is still intact.
He said that if you're not going to be well enough to play on the field, you're going to be standing right beside me, helping me coach the team.
We're going to sign him on National Letter of Intent Day, then he's going to be a Rice Owl. So y'all can take that off your plate, quit worrying about that, and let's get your son healthy.
The work that I'd put in to get a scholarship to play football, I thought it was going to be ruined, but the amazing amount of pressure it took off me for him to tell me that. Just an amazing amount.
John and Meredith, it's one of those stories that gives you goosebumps, and it's really hard to describe to you the energy felt in that gym this afternoon. Senior David Wilganowski received a standing ovation during the Rudder High School pep rally. Now, Wilganowski had a defibrillator put in Tuesday, and he nearly died here at Mill Green Stadium just 2 weeks ago. His classmates and teammates can't wait to see him cheering them on from the sidelines tonight.
Every 6 weeks when I go see Dr. Mead, he checks the defibrillator when I go in for my appointment. Dr. Mead is always helpful. He's always there to answer my questions.
Hey, David.
Hey, Dr. Mead, how are you?
Great. Good to see you.
Oh, yeah, good to see you.
Thanks for coming in.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
Why don't we check you out here?
Okay.
Come on back.
He can tell me when my heart rate peaks or when my heart rate goes up. He can pretty much run it through its courses and tell me you're good to go or, okay, we have a problem.
Defibrillators and pacemakers are both devices that are placed inside the body.
My defibrillator is basically with 3 leads. There's one in the top of the heart, there's one in the bottom of the heart, and there's one that they send through an artery.
The difference between a pacemaker and a defibrillator is relatively dramatic. A pacemaker is designed to give a really small shock to the heart to just prompt it to contract. An implantable defibrillator is used to basically reset the heart.
Look, it looks like your impedances are good, so your leads look good. So it looks like you have not had any bad heart rhythm, so that's great.
That sounds great.
Good.
That's great.
You've not been dizzy or anything? Good, good. In fact, Thursday around 5:30, were you working out?
Yeah, I was.
Okay,
Doing
yeah.
work outside, so.
Yeah, so that shows your heart rate went up at that time.
Okay.
David has the long QT syndrome. This is a syndrome where there is a mutation of ion channels in the heart, so the heart does not repolarize or reset normally.
With long QT syndrome, that puts them at substantial risk for developing arrhythmias, and oftentimes fatal arrhythmias. We know that there are genetic predispositions that runs in certain families. Unless people develop an arrhythmia associated with that, they may go completely undetected.
In David's case, he was exercising at a very high level, so the body had a lot of adrenaline, and that predisposed him to the abnormal heart rhythm. The long QT syndrome is responsible for approximately 1,000 deaths annually in the United States, mostly in children and young adults.
If I knew who created defibrillator and I met him, I would hug him. I wouldn't shake his hand, I'd hug him. I mean, not just he is the reason I'm alive, but he is the reason why I can do the things I do.
Okay, live on, high red.
It kind of sent a shock through the town that a star football player from Rudder High School could collapse on the field and that it could happen to anybody.
All right, number 4, trochlear.
For third period, I have Coach Lozano. He teaches sports medicine.
If your patient or your athlete can move their face and swallow, you can give them something to drink. He was one of the best we've had here. He was incredibly athletic. He's big, he's strong, very fast, and very smart. Not only just on the field, but in the classroom. One of the smartest kids we have.
Three months after the incident, I was able to start working out. My muscles degenerated a lot, and the muscles still hadn't completely healed over my defibrillator.
You know, he started off pretty weak. He said he couldn't really even do a pull-up anymore.
At first, the doctor set a limit for me at 150 beats per minute, and I couldn't exceed that. And recently, Dr. Mead has raised that. It's been 6 months now. I'm able to do just about everything else any other athlete at our school can do. I just am not allowed to do contact sports.
He's basically back up to the maximum amount of weights that he was at before.
Come on, Charlie. This is Charlie Brown. He is a Norwich Terrier, and he is almost 3 now. And he was in congestive heart failure and almost dead when he got to Texas A&M in March of 2010.
So I evaluated him that afternoon and determined he had 3rd-degree AV block, and we determined a pacemaker was most appropriate for him, and he got his pacemaker that day. That was about 2 years ago. Dogs with Charlie's disease will usually die within a few weeks. Without a permanent pacemaker, Charlie wouldn't be with us today. We were able to feed a permanent pacemaker wire through that jugular vein and into his heart. The pacemaker wire is attached to the inside of the heart. It's screwed into the heart so it doesn't move out of place. And then the wire itself is plugged into a small battery, a generator, that is put underneath the skin on his neck. And that little computerized battery chip is what controls his heart rate.
Hi, Charlie! Charlie! Hi, Charlie!
Say hi to everyone.
He has has just done great ever since. He's completely paced. The pacemaker, they literally saved his life. He wouldn't have lived much longer.
Yeah, he did really well. He's using his pacemaker 100% of the time, as we suspected. The ongoing research that's done in the human side is benefiting our population of dogs because it's helping us identify genetic mutations. It's helping us look for biomarkers or other things that could lead to earlier detection and potentially treatment options for our patients. That provides invaluable information to our physicians out there who are trying to figure out what happens to these dogs, and more importantly, what happens to the people long term.
All right, thank you. Well, thank you for seeing our dog.
Yes, thank you.
Yes,
It was nice to meet you.
It's
Of
nice
course.
to meet you.
Yes.
Now we're starting to develop issues with her.
Yeah.
And what I really hope is that the studies that I do can benefit both sides, as opposed to just saying, well, we're going to use animals to help people. What I want to do is I want to use animals to help people and animals. When I have a dog that comes in that has a pacemaker implanted, and when I pull up his electronic medical record over at the veterinary school, the first thing I see is a red flashing warning and says, this patient has a pacemaker in and cannot go into the MRI magnet. Well, the study that we're currently doing may change that warning.
I will never be able to get an MRI again because I have metal coils that run into my heart, and if these metal coils get too close to a magnet, they will heat up and they could burn my heart and burn through an artery, and I could die. I could bleed out. But the work that Dr. Miller does and his colleagues, they're working towards research and development of coils or leads that are safe to be in MRIs.
And if we can prove that an MRI will not put him at risk for complications associated with his defibrillator, then we give him access to the best quality imaging, best quality care, and hopefully the best outcome.
It's not just people who benefit from that. It is animals that benefit just as well. There would be no new drugs and no new devices without that type of research.
I'm helping coach the defensive line, and I'm helping Coach Slater and Coach Mays break down film, helping go over plays, helping make scouting reports, things like that. So wherever they need me, they're using me.
You know, he's incredible. I mean, he's still got this just fantastic attitude. Whatever we ask him to do, he just gets after it and gets it done. And he just wants to be the best help he can be.
It's not easy seeing everybody play football, and, you know, I worked so hard to get there.
It's a game he loved, and it wasn't one where he got to stop on his own terms, you know, and that's hard on these guys because they get so much self-worth from the sport. He had made a life goal to earn a Division I football scholarship, but in one play, it was over. I think he realizes how fortunate he is and how blessed we all are. He's still here, and he's living every day to the fullest.
I'm still here, and I still have football in my life. Academically, I mean, it is tough. It's one of the best institutions in the nation. Not everybody gets in here, and I'm so happy that I did.
It also forces this football team and coaching staff to reflect, you know, you better live every day to its fullest. You better play every play to its fullest, because you never know when it's going to be over.
And I need to take advantage of the opportunity that's in front of me and get a great education so I can live the rest of my life doing something I want to do.
owe it to those people and to the good Lord.
And they're true professionals. They did their job very well, and we're very, very thankful for what they have done. And there's 1,000 people there praying, but it only needed one prayer to be answered. So, and it was.
It makes me appreciate everything that I can do. It makes me appreciate just everything just a little bit more. I don't see any need to be frustrated or sad. I was gonna die at 17 years old. I have another chance to live. It's been enough time that we can, sit down and talk about it. And every once in a while we can joke about it, and it's okay. I think it really, I'm sure it's one of the defining moments, and it's going to be in her life. She saved somebody.
I heard they did.
And Miss Woodall has given me another chance to live. It's as fast as she got there. Some don't make it.